Hello students, welcome to the class. Introduction. Media is all about communication, sharing knowledge and information and connecting people. One of the major roles of media is advertising, that is spreading awareness about certain products and services, highlighting their benefits and uniqueness. It connects manufacturers and service providers with their customers via different media. Different media used for advertising include print media, newspapers and magazine ads, audiovisual media, radio and television ads, social media, ads that pop up on your Facebook or Instagram feeds, and internet, contextual ads placed on search engines, result pages or on email. Objectives. Meaning and importance of media, print medium, newspaper advertising, magazine advertising. Meaning and the importance of media. The method or means adopted to communicate the message of an advertisement is known as the medium of advertising. In other words, medium is the vehicle or carrier of advertising message to the target customers or prospects. Thus, newspaper is a medium of advertising because it carries messages in print about products and services. The basic purpose of using the media is to bring in products and services to the notice of potential customers. The underlying objective of all advertising is to promote sales. With the mass production of goods in modern times, sales promotion inevitably requires services of mass media which can carry the advertising message to the largest possible number of potential consumers and also enables repetition of the message as often as may be necessary. Press media. Press medium is a print medium which comprises of newspapers and magazines. The main difference between newspapers and magazines is the periodicity of their publication. Newspapers are published daily, whereas magazines are published periodically, that is weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly or biannually. In both cases, however, the message is conveyed through words in print, sometimes along with pictures or photographs. Words in print can be made as attractive, appealing and informative as possible. So also the accompanying picture. Print medium. This can be further classified into newspapers, magazines and yellow pages. All these three forms deal with literate people and hence provide the benefit of literate consumers. Newspaper advertisements are one of the oldest and popular forms of advertising. Newspapers help advertisers reach a large number of audiences. Magazine contents are designed keeping select target readers, hence advertisers can also choose target consumers strategically, thus making it costly. There are many forms of sales print including 1. Leaflet. This is a single sheet of unfolded paper. 2. Folder. As the name implies, this is a sheet of print which may be quite large, reduced to a convenient size by means of folds or which may be folded concert in a fashion of form a number of separate pages without need for binding. A good reason for folding may be so that the item fits into an envelope for mailing or is easy to carry in the pocket. 3. Brochures and booklets. If multiples of 4 pages are used, they can be bound by some form of stitching. Single sheets can be bound by the process of perfect binding when the left hand edges are glued and the whole bound in a cover. 4. Broadsheet. This is really another kind of folder which unfolds to a size similar to a large newspaper page. Maps, charts and small posters may be produced in this style. Note that this term also refers to a large page newspaper as distinct from a tabloid. 5. Catalogues. These are brochures which describe and usually illustrate the range of products available and give their prices. They can be of any size, from pocket size to something resembling a telephone directory according to the nature of the business. 6. Picture postcards. Useful publicity can be gained by supplying customers with postcards as with hotels, airlines and shipping lines. People often collect them. 7. Hotel stationery. Letterheadings and printed envelopes placed in hotel rooms are not only a service but a useful form of advertising. 8. Stuffers. These are leaflets inserted or stuffed in the package. They contain instructions on how to use a product and also can be used to advertise the product or sister products. 9. Diaries. Whether desk or pocket, they are of long lasting advertising value since they are referred to throughout the year, and refills or new diaries can be supplied every year as Christmas gifts. While in a number of international markets, the newspaper industry is facing declining readership because of digital media, the print industry in India continues to grow, driven by an increase in advertising spend. A rise in literacy rates and the growth of regional language and specialty newspapers. The Indian newspaper industry is one of the largest in the world, with more than 74,000 newspapers in 22 languages and a readership of 325 million. Newspapers are very popular with advertisers in India, accounting for 42% of all advertising spend, the most for any medium. Newspaper advertising. Newspapers have several characteristics that make them popular among both local and national advertisers. These include their extensive penetration of local markets, flexibility, geographic selectivity, reader involvement and special services, to name a few. Extensive penetration. One of the primary advantages of newspapers is the high degree of market coverage or penetration they offer an advertiser. In most areas, 50% or more of the households read a daily newspaper, and the reach figure may exceed 70% among households with higher incomes and education levels. The extensive penetration of newspapers make them a truly mass medium and provides advertisers with an excellent opportunity for reaching all segments of the population with their message. Flexibility. Newspapers offer flexibility for advertisers in terms of requirements for producing and running the ads. Newspaper ads can be written, laid out and prepared in a short time. For most dailies, the closing time by which the ads must be received is usually only 24 hours before publication. Although closing dates for special ads such as those using color and Sunday supplements are longer. The short production time and closing dates make newspapers an excellent medium for responding to current events or presenting timely information to consumers. Geographic selectivity. Newspapers generally offer advertisers more geographic or territorial selectivity than any other medium except direct mail. Advertisers can vary their coverage by choosing a paper or combination of papers that reaches the areas with the greatest sales potential. National advertisers that take advantage of the geographic selectivity of newspapers to concentrate their advertising in specific areas they can't reach with other media, or to take advantage of strong sales potential in a particular area. For example, BMW, Mercedes and Volvo use heavy newspaper media schedules in Punjab and Haryana to capitalize on the high sales potential for luxury import cars in these markets. A number of companies including General Motors, Wipro and Tata use newspapers in their regional marketing strategies. Reader involvement and acceptance. Another important feature of newspapers is consumers' level of acceptance and involvement with papers and ads they contain. The typical daily newspaper reader spends time each day reading the weekday newspaper and even more time reading the Sunday newspaper. Most consumers rely heavily on newspapers not only for news, information and entertainment, but also for assistance with consumption decisions. Many consumers actually purchase a newspaper because of the advertising it contains. Consumers use retail ads to determine product prices and availability and to see who is having a sale. Newspaper advertising has also been rated the most believable form of advertising in numerous studies. Low cover prices. Indian newspapers have extremely low cover prices, some of the leading dailies being sold at less than a rupee and typically packaged with a second free newspaper. Subscription revenues remain negligible for most newspapers, with distribution costs recovered through advertising sales. India is becoming a popular destination for media services outsourcing. Globally, media companies are outsourcing print media services such as layout design, classified and display design, graphics and data compilation to India, seeking to take advantage of low cost and a qualified English speaking talent pool. Advantages of newspapers for advertising. In-depth coverage and permanence. Both radio and TV are ephemeral and usually brief, but newspapers and magazines can provide detailed reports that can be read, reread and even retained. The life of city newspapers may be only a few hours. On the other hand, magazines have a large readership and a larger shelf life. Variety of subjects covered. Newspapers represent political, social, religious, ethnic and language groups. Magazines represent every spot of special interest. It is possible to select the right journals to reach particular sections of the reading public. This cannot be done with mass media like radio or TV. Mobility. Newspapers and magazines can be carried out and read almost everywhere while traveling, at place of work, or in a waiting room or library. Diversification beyond print. Growth aspirations fueled by capital availability have led publishers to enter into other media and forge partnerships with TV channels. Newspaper companies are entering into other businesses such as internet, TV education, events and experiential marketing, radio and out-of-home advertising. Growing Hindi and regional print markets. The Indian print industry has witnessed a continued shift toward regional and Hindi markets due to rising literacy rates and increasing disposable incomes in non-metros as well as advertiser interest in targeting these segments. The Hindi and regional markets are expected to grow faster than the English language market, with the combined share of the Hindi and regional markets estimated to be 44% by 2015. Print players are also launching hyperlocal editions dedicated to particular areas, communities or sections of society to increase their reach in regional markets. Evaluation is done by dividing the cost of space by the number of replies received, statistics available. Net sales are audited, readership details are researched. A wealth of statistical information exists about all publications, newspapers and magazines. The media planner can thus do his planning. Improved printing. Most newspapers and magazines are printed in offset. The picture quality is good, even in black and white. Magazines are also better printed with sharper pictures and better quality paper. There are so many different kind of newspapers, magazines and other publications. Regional newspapers and magazines in India, each region has its dailies. Navbharat Times Delhi, Mumbai, Gujarat Samachar, Mumbai, Eenadu Hyderabad, Malayala Manorama Trivandrum, Daily Tanti Chennai, Anand Bazar Patrika Kolkata, etc. Modes of distribution. The retail distribution is through vendors. People subscribe to magazines, so there is subscription. It is controlled circulation. Many trade technical journals are mailed free. Sometimes city specific or locality specific bulletin magazines, etc. are circulated free. Limitations of newspaper advertising. While newspapers have many advantages, like all media, they also have disadvantages that media planners must consider. The limitations of newspapers include their reproduction problems, short lifespan, lack of selectivity and clutter. Poor reproduction. One of the greatest limitations of newspapers as an advertising medium is their poor reproduction quality. The coarse paper stock used for newspapers, the absence of color and the lack of time are the limitations associated with newspapers. As a result of this, high quality reproduction is not possible, though new technologies to improve the reproduction quality in recent years are constantly brought in and color production is the norm, still much more needs to be done. Short lifespan. Unlike magazines which may be retained for several weeks, a daily newspaper is generally kept less than a day. So, an ad is unlikely to have any impact beyond the day of publication, and repeat exposure is very unlikely. Compounding this problem is the short time many consumers spend with the newspaper and the possibility they may not even open certain sections of the paper. Media planners can offset these problems somewhat by using high frequency in the newspaper schedule and advertising in a section where consumers who are in the market for a particular product or service are likely to look. Lack of selectivity. While newspapers can offer advertisers the geographic selectivity, they are not a selective medium in terms of demographics or lifestyle characteristics. Most newspapers reach broad and very diverse groups of consumers, which makes it difficult for marketeers to focus on narrowly defined market segments. Clutter. Newspapers, like most other advertising media, suffer from clutter because 64% of the average daily newspaper in the United States is devoted to advertising. The advertiser's message must compete with numerous other ads for consumers' attention and interest. Moreover, the creative options in newspapers are limited by the fact that most ads are black and white. Thus, it can be difficult for a newspaper advertiser to break through the clutter without using costly measures such as large space buys or color. Some advertisers use creative techniques like island ads, ads surrounded by editorial material. Island ads are found in the middle of stock market quotes on the financial pages of many newspapers. Poor newsprint. Offset printing has improved the standards of color and picture printing in the newspapers today, but the poor quality of newsprint makes a difference to the output. In this respect, let us compare the Times of India with the New Indian Express newspapers, and the difference is obvious. Passive medium. An effort has to be made to read press ads unlike TV, radio or cinema, which have captive audience. Ads in the press have to compete with editorial for attention and interest, while cinema and broadcast advertising does not occur at the same time. Static medium. The press ad lacks realism of sound, movement and color of TV, cinema and even audio of radio ads. Newspaper published in different languages. Newspapers are widely and regularly read by the educated public. Reading newspaper is the daily habit of many people in cities and towns and some literate people in the villages. Many have also become accustomed to advertisements in newspapers and look for them as a source of information. The circulation of some of the national dailies in India runs into several millions. Magazine advertising. Magazines comprise around 19% of the total publishing industry in India. They are viewed as a luxury product and rely heavily on newsstand sales rather than subscription sales. Magazines and newspapers have been advertising media for more than 2 centuries for many years. They were the only major media available to advertisers. Magazines are also called periodicals as they are published at periodical intervals, weekly, fortnightly, monthly and so on. Magazines are the most specialized of all advertising media. While magazines such as Reader's Digest, Time and TV Guide are general mass appeal publications, most are targeted to a very specific audience. There is a magazine designed to appeal to nearly every type of consumer in terms of demographics, lifestyle, activities, interests or fascination. Advantages of magazine advertising. Magazines have a number of characteristics that make them attractive as an advertising medium. Strengths of magazines include their selectivity, excellent reproduction, quality, creative flexibility, permanence, prestige, readers' high receptivity and involvement, and services they offer to advertisers. Selectivity. Magazines are the most selective of all media except direct mail. Most magazines are published for special interest groups. The thousands of magazines published in India reach all types of consumers and businesses and allow advertisers to target their advertising to segments of the population who buy their products. For example, modern photography is targeted towards camera buffs. Stereo Review reaches those with an avid interest in music, and Women's Era focuses on the upscale Indian women market. Many new magazines are introduced each year targeting new interests and trends. Vida Publications launched the magazine in response to the recent dramatic increase in strength training by women. In addition to providing selectivity based on interests, magazines can provide advertisers with high demographic and geographic selectivity. Reproduction quality. One of the most valued attributes of magazine advertising is the reproduction quality of the ads. Magazines are generally printed on high quality paper stock and use printing processes that provide excellent reproduction in black and white or color. Since magazines are a visual medium where illustrations are often a dominant part of an ad, this is a very important property. The reproduction quality of most magazines is far superior to that offered by the other major print medium of newspapers, particularly when color is needed. The use of color has become a virtual necessity in most product categories, and more than 2/3 of all magazine ads now use color. Creative flexibility. In addition to their excellent reproduction capabilities, magazines also offer advertisers a great deal of flexibility in terms of the type, size and placement of the advertising material. Some magazines offer, often at extra charge, a variety of special options that can enhance the creative appeal of the ad and increase attention and readership. Examples include gatefolds, bleed pages, inserts and creative space buys. Growth of specialty magazines. India's economic growth has created a demand for content covering niche segments such as travel, healthcare, finance and lifestyle. Niche magazines are under-penetrated in India with about 3 to 4 magazine titles for each niche category versus 7 to 10 titles globally. This has led to 278 niche magazines launching in India between 2005 and 2010. A number of niche magazines have increased their cover prices from about Rs 25 a few years ago to Rs 150 today. Increase in foreign investments. Foreign magazine publishers are actively entering the growing Indian magazine market, spurred by the relaxed entry norms for international print companies that the government implemented in 2012. Foreign players can form a partnership with an Indian publisher to print the Indian edition of a magazine with up to 100% foreign content. This is likely to provide Indian readers with foreign magazines at affordable rates. Between 2008 and 2009, 189 Indian editions of foreign specialty, technical and scientific magazines received government approval. Reproduction quality. One of the most valued attributes of magazine advertising is the reproduction quality of the ads. Magazines are generally printed on high quality paper stock and use printing processes that provide excellent reproduction in black and white or color. Permanence. Another distinctive feature advantage offered by magazines is their long lifespan. TV and radio are characterized by fleeting messages that have a very short lifespan. Newspapers are generally discarded soon after being read. Magazines, however, are generally read over several days and often kept for reference. Limitations of magazine advertising. Although the advantages offered by magazines are considerable, they have certain drawbacks too. These include the cost of advertising, their limited reach and frequency, the long lead time required in placing an ad, and the problem of clutter and heavy advertising competition. Costs. The costs of advertising in magazines vary according to the size of the audience that they reach and their selectivity. Limited reach and frequency. Magazines are generally not as effective as other media in offering research and frequency. While nearly 55% of adults in India read one or more consumer magazines each month, the percentage of adults reading any individual publication tends to be much smaller. So, magazines have a thin penetration of households. Long lead time. Another drawback of magazines is the long lead time needed to place an ad. Most major publications have a 30 to 90 day lead time, which means space must be purchased and the ad must be prepared well in advance of the actual publication date. No changes in the art or copy of the ad can be made after their closing date. Clutter. According to the Magazine Publishers of America, the average consumer magazine contains 45% advertising and 55% editorial. However, many magazines contain ads on more than half of their pages. This clutter makes it difficult for an advertiser to gain readers' attention and draw them into the ad. Summary. To summarize, every medium is unique with its own advantages and disadvantages. Advertisers select media based on the nature of goods and services. Newspapers are a popular medium for advertising in local pockets. On a small scale, at relatively low cost, magazines are visually attractive packages for advertising. As a mass medium, radio broadcasting is very